everybody, welcome to Surviving Science class. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some bacteria basics. So the kingdom Eubacteria is the only kingdom within the domain bacteria. All of these organisms that are in this domain have two major things in common. One, they are all one-celled. They're all unicellular. Two, they're all prokaryotic. Prokaryotes are missing two major things. They don't have a nucleus and they don't have membrane-bound organelles. So let's talk a little bit about the structure of the Eubacteria, keeping in mind that they don't have a nucleus and that they don't have organelles. The outside of the bacteria structure is a cell wall made of a chemical called peptidoglycan. The purpose of the cell wall is to give it support and protection. Moving inward towards the cell, we have the cell membrane, which is supposed to control what goes in and out of the cell. Inside the cell membrane is where all the cytoplasm is, the jelly-like fluid within the cell. In that cytoplasm, we find ribosomes and the DNA. There's no nucleus, so the DNA is just kind of hanging out in the cytoplasm. Outside the cell, we might find a flagella, which is that whip-like tail that allows it to move through materials. We also sometimes find these little tiny hair-like structures on the outside of these cells, but these are not for movement. These are called pili, and their job is to help the bacteria attach to surfaces. This is really beneficial for some of the disease-causing bacteria, because without the pili, they wouldn't be able to stick to host cells. So that's a really good reason to brush your teeth really, really well. Make sure you get all those bacteria, pili loosened from your teeth and knocked off. Some bacteria have an extra layer outside the cell wall called a capsule, and its job is for extra protection against heat and antibiotics and different things that could destroy the bacteria cell. It's just something that the cell has evolved to have for controlling its lifespan. Like all other living things, these bacteria need food, and many of them are heterotrophic, like animals, you and me, but these single cells don't have a mouth, so they can't just, order up pizza and eat and get their energy. They have to kind of dissolve their food source and bring it in through the cell membrane. Other eubacteria are autotrophic, like cyanobacteria, and they can use the sunlight for photosynthesis to make some of the sugars that they need for energy. Eubacteria are able to make more bacteria through a process of binary fission. Binary fission is where the DNA is copied and then one cell divides into two cells. It's a very simple asexual reproduction and allows for rapid growth, which is how one bacteria can kind of overtake an area so quickly. Eubacteria are classified by their shape. There's three categories that we put them into. The first is if they're round or sphere-shaped, we call that coccyx. If they're long and rod, kind of hot dog shaped, we call that bacilli. If they're spiral shaped, we call that spirilla. These eubacteria are found everywhere that you are. Eubacteria, get it? Well, they can be found on you, in you, lots of different places. And I know that when you hear bacteria, a lot of times you think of diseases, and you would be right to think strep throat and pneumonia. But the disease-causing bacteria only makes up a very, very small amount of all the bacteria. Most eubacteria are actually very beneficial. You have quite a bit of this good bacteria in your gut to help you break down food. It's also used in food manufacturing, like making yogurts and cheeses. So these are the basics of bacteria, and I want to thank you for joining me on Surviving Science class, and I hope you learned something that'll help you keep going and keep growing. Bye!